Welcome to the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. We are, as a nation, here in August of 2019, pretty well settled in the political debate. We are at least a year out from the next election. We have to endure the nonsense of all of this for another 13, 14 months before we have an election. We have basically two political parties. One party calls themselves Republicans. The other party calls themselves Democrats. They love saying that they are Democratic, but there is nothing democratic about the Democrat Party. Republicans take their name from what they advocate. They stand for a republic. The other are Democrats. Their platform is all about the people. They advocate for a democracy. And you hear it in the advertisements these 37 different people who are running for office give you on a regular basis. It's all about you, looking out for you, giving you more power. We got one guy going to give you billions of dollars of different kinds of aid and encouragement so because you're suffering. We've got someone else over here who's going to spend another $1 billion with your health care because we know that you have to have it. It's all about you. They're Democrats. Of course, once the people vote them in, these Democrats promptly ignore those people and let the streets of their cities overflow with debris and disease. They let the educational system deteriorate until a 4-year college degree in liberal arts barely equips a graduating student with an education equal to the 8th grade education 100 years ago, equal to a high school education today. I say they, since our educational system is dominated by a liberal philosophy and by liberally educated college students. Democrats are pushing hard for a pure democracy. Now, the dictionary definition specifies that a pure democracy is characterized by fairness is the enemy of justice, free, and competitive elections between multiple distinct political parties. It calls for a separation of powers into different branches of government, a system which claims to apply the rule of law to everyday life as part of an open society. It emphasizes the protection of human rights and civil liberties for all persons. In defining the system in practice, liberal democracies often draw upon a constitution, either formally written or uncodified, to delineate the powers of government and enshrine the social contract. After a period of sustained expansion through the 20th century, liberal democracy became the prominent political system in the world. A liberal democracy may take various constitutional forms. It might be a republic, such as France and Germany, India, Ireland, Italy, even the United States. Or it may be a constitutional monarchies, like Japan or Spain. It may have a president. Think of Colombia, Brazil, Mexico, or even our own United States. They may have a semi-presidential system, like France or Portugal. Or they may have a parliamentary system, like in Australia, Canada, Germany, Ireland, India, Italy, or New Zealand. Do you see how it all works? You have a singular term, but it can describe all sorts of systems within that one term, as long as the citizens are involved in voting, hence the word democracy. What Democrats want for the United States is a social democracy. They say it all the time. Social democracies argue that all citizens should be legally entitled to certain social rights, rights made up of universal access to public services like education, health care, workers' compensation, public transportation, and other services including child care and the care of the elderly. Social democracy is connected with the trade union labor movement of the past and supports collective bargaining rights for workers. Contemporary social democracy advocates freedom from discrimination based on differences in ability or disability or age, ethnicity, gender, language, race, religion, sexual orientation, social class. There are several European countries that claim a social democracy but do not actually follow through with it. Actual social democracies are Bangladesh, India, North Korea, Portugal, Sri Lanka, Tanzania. Experts claim democratic socialism is more of an ideal than a specific practice. Why? Well, largely because it doesn't work. It has never worked. It cannot work. Our forefathers carved out a constitutional democratic republic. This is a system where the principles of an established constitution and the people do not pass laws based on a direct majority. Rather, they elect representatives to a legislative body who can then represent their interests, but who can only pass laws that adhere to the principles of the Constitution. And we have a Supreme Court to make sure that happens. One of the main principles of our Constitution is the division of powers among the three parts of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches. And all of this works through a system of checks and balances. The executive branch has the power to veto laws passed by the legislative branch that it deems unconstitutional. If challenged by the people, the judicial branch has the power to strike down laws it considers unconstitutional. The legislative branch, however, retains the powers to revise such laws so that it meets the constitutional benchmarks as expressed by other branches, and also retains the important power of passing new laws. The current crop vying for the Democrat Party's candidate for president of these United States want us to believe that the U.S. is a democracy. A democracy is a nation run by the will of the people. Listen to them. They are not constitutional Republicans. They do not understand, or perhaps they do not care for the constitutional system. They want it to be a pure democracy because they care about you, the people. No, because with your money they can keep you happy, and they can keep people voting for them, and they can perpetuate this grand and glorious thing, stay in power where they get huge salaries, work very little time each year, do not have to accomplish anything. If you are in the House of Representatives, you're only elected for a 3-year term. So after the first year, you've got to start running for office again. And the honest representatives will tell you that's what it's about. They are required to be in Washington, to be in Congress certain times, certain days, certain hours for certain meetings. And all that is orchestrated to make sure they have plenty of time to do the other stuff. They have people. They have a staff that maintains all this. We hear senators, we hear representatives all the time talking about these laws that they're so impassioned about, laws that are 47 pages deep, and they have never read. They have people that give them a summary of what it really is. These are unelected people who are there to serve their boss. Is it possible that sometimes the cliff notes that the boss gets are tailored to something he or she likes or wants? If you like that kind of government, vote for the Democrats. They want a democracy. We don't have one. And we are the strongest nation in the world in every way. And the rest of the world scurries around trying to be what we are. But their system and their people won't let them be that. These liberal Democrats, and liberal Republicans too, to one extent, but the Democrats are liberal to start with, but there are liberals within the liberals. They really want something that will destroy us. Be careful. Listen to them. They'll tell you who they are.